Self-control isn't just a nice idea or a philosophical concept. It's the foundation upon which all success is built. Think about it for a moment. Every great achievement in human history started with someone who learned to control their thoughts, their emotions, their habits, and their actions. Every failure, every disappointment, every regret can be traced back to a moment when someone lost control of themselves. Now, what do I mean by self-control? I'm not talking about becoming a robot or suppressing your personality. I'm talking about becoming the master of your own ship, the captain of your own soul, the CEO of your own life. Self-control is the ability to do what you should do when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. It's the power to choose your response to any situation rather than simply reacting based on emotions or impulses. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this perfectly. Years ago, I met a man who had built a multi-million-dollar business from nothing. When I asked him the secret to his success, he didn't talk about market timing or business strategies. He said, "Jim, I learned early that I could either control my day or my day would control me. I could either control my thoughts or my thoughts would control me. I could either control my habits or my habits would control me." That man understood something fundamental about human nature and success. The first area where you must establish control is over your thoughts. Your mind is like a garden, and thoughts are like seeds. If you don't plant good seeds, weeds will grow automatically. If you don't take charge of what goes into your mind, anything and everything will find its way in there. The quality of your life is directly related to the quality of your thoughts. Most people are not in control of their thinking. They wake up in the morning and immediately start reacting to whatever pops into their head. They read the newspaper and let negative news set their mood for the day. They listen to gossip and let other people's problems become their problems. They dwell on past failures and worry about future possibilities that may never happen. This is not thinking, this is being thought. To have control over yourself, you must first take charge of your mental diet. Just as you wouldn't eat garbage and expect to have a healthy body, you can't feed your mind garbage and expect to have a healthy life. You must become selective about what you allow into your consciousness. Choose books that inspire and educate you. Choose conversations that challenge and encourage you. Choose thoughts that empower and energize you. Here's what I've learned about controlling your thoughts. You must become an active participant in your own thinking process. Don't just let thoughts happen to you, make thoughts happen for you. When a negative thought enters your mind, don't fight it, don't resist it, but don't entertain it either. Simply replace it with a better thought. This takes practice, but like any skill, it gets easier with repetition. I want you to understand something crucial here. Your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits, and your habits become your character. So if you want to change your life, you must start by changing your thoughts. This is why self-control begins in the mind. But controlling your thoughts is just the beginning. You must also learn to control your emotions. Now, I'm not suggesting you become an emotionless person. Emotions are part of what makes us human, and they can be powerful allies when properly directed. But when emotions control you instead of you controlling them, they become your master rather than your servant. Think about the successful people you know. What do they have in common? They don't let their emotions make their decisions for them. They feel fear, but they act courageously anyway. They feel disappointed, but they persevere anyway. They feel angry, but they respond wisely anyway. They understand that emotions are temporary visitors, not permanent residents. The key to emotional control is understanding that you always have a choice in how you respond to any situation. Viktor Frankl, who survived the Nazi concentration camp, said it best: between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space lies your freedom to choose your response. In your response lies your growth and your happiness. Most people have this backwards. They think their emotions are caused by external circumstances. They say things like, "You make me angry," or "This weather depresses me," or "That situation stresses me out." But the truth is, no one can make you feel anything without your permission. Your emotions are your choice, your responsibility, and your power. Here's a practical way to develop emotional control. When you feel a strong emotion, pause before you act. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what would be the most constructive response to this situation? Don't ask what you feel like doing, ask what you should do. There's often a significant difference between the two. Let me share another aspect of self-control that's absolutely critical: controlling your habits. Your habits are like the unconscious patterns that run your life. They're the things you do automatically without thinking. And here's what's fascinating: successful people have successful habits, while unsuccessful people have unsuccessful habits. It's that simple. The challenge is that most people are unaware of their habits. They don't realize that they're running on autopilot most of the time. They wake up at the same time, follow the same routine, think the same thoughts, and make the same choices day after day. Then they wonder why their life doesn't change. If you want to change your life, you must change your habits. But here's the secret: you can't change all your habits at once. That's like trying to turn around a huge ship instantly. It doesn't work. Instead, you must be selective and strategic. Choose one habit at a time and focus all your energy on changing that one habit until it becomes automatic. Start with keystone habits, habits that have a positive ripple effect on other areas of your life. For example, if you develop the habit of exercising regularly, you'll likely start eating better, sleeping better, and feeling more confident. If you develop the habit of reading for 30 minutes every morning, you'll start thinking better, communicating better, and making better decisions. The key to changing habits is consistency, not perfection. Don't worry about being perfect, worry about being consistent. It's better to exercise for 10 minutes every day than to exercise for 2 hours once a week. It's better to read one page every day than to read an entire book once a month. Small, consistent actions compound over time to create extraordinary results. Now, let's talk about controlling your time, because time is the one resource that's truly equal for everyone. Rich or poor, young or old, successful or struggling, we all get the same 24 hours each day. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people isn't how much time they have, but how they use the time they have. Most people don't control their time, they let their time control them. They react to urgent demands rather than focusing on important priorities. They say yes to everything and everyone, then wonder why they don't have time for what really matters. They procrastinate on important tasks and then rush to complete them at the last minute. This is not time management, this is time mismanagement. To have control over yourself, you must have control over your schedule. This means learning to say no to good opportunities so you can say yes to great ones. It means scheduling your priorities rather than prioritizing your schedule. It means understanding the difference between being busy and being productive. Here's a simple but powerful time management principle. Always ask yourself, what's the best use of my time right now? This one question will help you focus on what's most important rather than what's most urgent. Remember, urgent things are not always important, and important things are not always urgent. Another crucial aspect of self-control is controlling your associations. The people you spend time with have a tremendous influence on who you become. If you associate with complainers, you'll become a complainer. If you associate with achievers, you'll become an achiever. If you associate with people who make excuses, you'll start making excuses. If you associate with people who take responsibility, you'll become more responsible. This doesn't mean you should abandon friends or family members who are struggling. But it does mean you should be intentional about who you spend your discretionary time with. Seek out people who inspire you, challenge you, and believe in your potential. Distance yourself from people who consistently drain your energy, discourage your dreams, or enable your worst habits. I learned this lesson the hard way in my early years. I was associating with people who were content with mediocrity, and their attitude was rubbing off on me. It wasn't until I changed my associations that I began to change my results. The 5 people you spend the most time with will largely determine your level of success in life. Choose them wisely. Let me talk to you now about controlling your words, because words have incredible power. They can build up or tear down, inspire or discourage, heal or hurt. The words you speak to others affect your relationships, and the words you speak to yourself affect your self-image. Both are crucial to your success and happiness. Many people underestimate the power of their words. They speak carelessly, negatively, or destructively, then wonder why their relationships suffer and their confidence erodes. They complain constantly, criticize freely, and gossip regularly, not realizing that their words are shaping their reality. To have control over yourself, you must have control over your communication. This means thinking before you speak, speaking with purpose rather than just filling silence, and using your words to encourage rather than discourage. It means speaking positively about yourself, your circumstances, and your future. Here's a practical exercise. For the next week, pay attention to everything you say. Notice how often you complain, criticize, or speak negatively. Notice how often you build others up versus tear them down. Notice how you talk about your problems versus your opportunities. This awareness alone will begin to transform your communication. Remember, your words reveal your thoughts, and your thoughts determine your destiny. If you want to change your destiny, start by changing your words. Instead of saying, "I can't," say, "I'll find a way." Instead of saying, "This is impossible," say, "This is challenging." Instead of saying, "I'm not good at this," say, "I'm learning to get better at this." Small changes in language create big changes in thinking. Now, let's discuss controlling your money, because financial discipline is a crucial aspect of self-control. Money is a tool, and like any tool, it's only as good as the person using it. Unfortunately, most people are controlled by money rather than controlling it. They spend impulsively, save sporadically, and invest emotionally. Then they wonder why they're always struggling financially. Financial self-control begins with understanding that every dollar you spend is a vote for the kind of life you want to live. When you spend money on things that don't add value to your life, you're voting for mediocrity. When you invest money in things that improve your knowledge, skills, or opportunities, you're voting for success. The foundation of financial control is spending less than you earn and investing the difference wisely. This sounds simple, but it requires tremendous discipline in our consumer-driven society. Everywhere you turn, someone is trying to separate you from your money. They want you to buy things you don't need with money. You don't have to impress people you don't like. Here's what I've learned about money. It's not how much you make that matters. It's how much you keep and what you do with what you keep. I've known people who made modest incomes but achieved financial independence because they controlled their spending and invested wisely. I've also known people who made substantial incomes but lived paycheck to paycheck because they had no financial discipline. Develop the habit of paying yourself first. Before you pay any bills or make any purchases, set aside a percentage of your income for your future. Start with whatever you can afford, even if it's just 1%. But start. The habit is more important than the amount. As your income increases and your discipline strengthens, increase the percentage. Let me share something else about self-control that most people overlook: controlling your physical health. Your body is the vehicle that carries you through life. And if you don't take care of it, it can't take care of you. Physical discipline creates mental discipline, and mental discipline creates success in every area of life. Most people abuse their bodies and then wonder why they lack energy, focus, or motivation. They eat foods that drain their energy rather than fuel their performance. They neglect exercise and then complain about feeling tired and stressed. They ignore their need for adequate sleep and then struggle with poor decision-making and emotional instability. Physical self-control means treating your body like the valuable asset it is. It means eating foods that nourish rather than just satisfy. It means exercising regularly to build strength, endurance, and mental toughness. It means getting adequate rest to restore your energy and maintain your health. Here's what I want you to understand. When you take control of your physical health, you develop confidence in your ability to control other areas of your life. Every time you choose a healthy meal over junk food, you're proving to yourself that you can make good choices. Every time you exercise when you don't feel like it, you're building your discipline muscle. Every time you go to bed early instead of staying up late, you're demonstrating self-mastery. Physical discipline is not about perfection, it's about consistency and progress. You don't have to become a professional athlete or fitness model. You just need to treat your body better today than you did yesterday, and better tomorrow than you do today. Now let me address something that's fundamental to self-control: controlling your environment. Your environment has a powerful influence on your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. If your environment is chaotic, cluttered, or negative, it will be much harder to maintain self-control. If your environment is organized, inspiring, and positive, it will support your efforts to improve. Look around your living space, your workspace, and your car. What do they say about you? Are they organized or chaotic? Are they clean or cluttered? Are they inspiring or depressing? Your external environment is often a reflection of your internal state, and it also influences your internal state. Take control of your environment by organizing your spaces, removing distractions, and surrounding yourself with things that inspire and motivate you. Create an environment that makes success easier and failure harder. Put your exercise clothes out the night before to make working out easier. Remove junk food from your kitchen to make healthy eating easier. Set up your workspace to minimize distractions and maximize productivity. Your environment includes not just physical spaces, but also the information you consume. In today's world, you're bombarded with information from television, radio, internet, social media, and countless other sources. Most of this information is negative, irrelevant, or designed to manipulate your emotions rather than improve your life. Take control of your information diet just as carefully as you would control your food diet. Choose books, podcasts, videos, and articles that educate and inspire rather than just entertain. Limit your exposure to negative news and gossip. Seek out content that challenges you to think, grow, and improve. Let me talk to you about one of the most challenging aspects of self-control. Controlling your responses to failure and setbacks. Everyone experiences failure, disappointment, and setbacks. They're part of the human experience. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people isn't that successful people don't fail. It's how they respond when they do fail. Most people let failure control them rather than controlling their response to failure. They take it personally, they dwell on it, they use it as evidence that they can't succeed. They let one failure become a pattern of failures, one setback become a permanent retreat, one disappointment become a permanent discouragement. To have true self-control, you must learn to fail forward. This means viewing failure as feedback rather than as a verdict. It means asking, what can I learn from this, rather than why did this happen to me? It means getting back up faster than you fall down. Here's what I've learned about failure. It's not your enemy, it's your teacher. Every failure contains valuable lessons if you're willing to look for them. Every setback contains information about what doesn't work, which gets you closer to discovering what does work. Every disappointment builds your resilience and prepares you for bigger challenges ahead. The key is to control your interpretation of events rather than letting events control your emotions. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control what you make it mean. You can choose to see failure as the end or as the beginning. You can choose to see setbacks as stop signs or as detours. You can choose to see challenges as threats or as opportunities. Self-control also means controlling your expectations, not lowering them, but making them realistic and productive. Many people set themselves up for disappointment by having unrealistic expectations about how quickly they should achieve their goals or how smoothly their journey should go. Success is not a straight line from where you are to where you want to be. It's more like a staircase with some steps forward, some steps back, some level platforms, and some steep climbs. If you expect it to be smooth and easy, you'll be constantly disappointed and frustrated. If you expect it to be challenging and unpredictable, you'll be better prepared to maintain your discipline and persistence. Set high standards for yourself, but be patient with your progress. Expect to work hard, expect to face obstacles, expect to experience setbacks. When you have realistic expectations, you're less likely to quit when things get difficult, and more likely to stay committed to your long-term goals. Let me share something with you about controlling your focus, because your life moves in the direction of your dominant thoughts and attention. Where you focus your mental energy determines what you create in your life. If you focus on problems, you'll create more problems. If you focus on opportunities, you'll create more opportunities. If you focus on what's wrong, you'll find more things that are wrong. If you focus on what's possible, you'll discover more possibilities. Most people don't control their focus. They let it wander wherever it wants to go. They focus on things they can't control and ignore things they can control. They focus on past mistakes instead of future opportunities. They focus on what they lack instead of what they have. They focus on why they can't instead of how they can. To develop self-control, you must become intentional about where you direct your attention. Focus on what you want rather than what you don't want. Focus on solutions rather than problems. Focus on progress rather than perfection. Focus on possibilities rather than limitations. Here's a practical exercise. At the end of each day, write down 3 things that went well and 3 things you learned. This simple practice will train your mind to look for positive outcomes and valuable lessons rather than dwelling on mistakes and failures. Over time, this will change your entire perspective and dramatically improve your results. Your focus is like a spotlight. Whatever you shine it on becomes brighter and more prominent in your experience. Choose wisely what you illuminate with your attention, because it will expand and multiply in your life. Now, let me address controlling your response to other people's opinions and expectations. One of the greatest threats to self-control is the tendency to let other people's opinions determine your choices. When you're constantly worried about what others think, you're no longer in control of your own life. You're being controlled by the real or imagined judgments of others. Many people never pursue their dreams because they're afraid of what others might say. They never take risks because they don't want to face criticism. They never stand up for their values because they don't want to rock the boat. They live their entire lives trying to please everyone else and end up pleasing no one, including themselves. Here's the truth. You can't control what other people think about you, but you can control how much their opinions influence your decisions. Some people will criticize you no matter what you do. Some people will misunderstand your motives, regardless of how clearly you explain them. Some people will project their own fears and limitations onto your dreams and aspirations. The key is to be selective about whose opinions you value. Seek input from people who have achieved what you want to achieve, who share your values, and who want the best for you. But don't let the opinions of people who haven't walked your path determine your direction. Remember, those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. The people who truly care about you will support your efforts to improve yourself and pursue your dreams, even if they don't completely understand your choices. The people who criticize your efforts to grow and succeed are usually projecting their own insecurities and regrets. Self-control means having the courage to disappoint some people in order to avoid disappointing yourself. It means choosing your own approval over others' approval when the two conflict. It means living your life according to your values and vision rather than other people's expectations and limitations. Let me talk about controlling your relationship with comfort and discomfort, because this is where most people lose the battle for self-control. Human beings are naturally inclined to seek comfort and avoid discomfort, but success requires you to do many things that are initially uncomfortable. Exercise is uncomfortable. Saving money instead of spending it is uncomfortable. Having difficult conversations is uncomfortable. Learning new skills is uncomfortable. Starting a business is uncomfortable. Pursuing ambitious goals is uncomfortable. But on the other side of discomfort is everything you want in life. Most people are controlled by their comfort zones rather than controlling their response to discomfort. They avoid challenges because they're uncomfortable. They postpone important tasks because they're difficult. They settle for less than they deserve because pursuing more requires effort and risk. To develop true self-control, you must learn to become comfortable with discomfort. You must understand that temporary discomfort leads to permanent improvement, while temporary comfort often leads to permanent regret. Every time you choose the uncomfortable but right thing over the comfortable but wrong thing, you're building your self-control muscle. Here's a practical way to build your comfort with discomfort. Regularly do small things that require you to step outside your comfort zone. Take cold showers, wake up early, or exercise when you don't feel like it. Have conversations you've been avoiding. Learn skills that challenge you. These small acts of self-discipline will prepare you for the bigger challenges that success requires. Remember, your comfort zone is not a place of safety, it's a place of stagnation. Everything you want in life exists outside your current comfort zone. The willingness to be uncomfortable is the price you pay for growth, achievement, and fulfillment. Let me share something crucial about controlling your internal dialogue, the voice in your head that comments on everything you do. This inner voice can be your greatest ally or your worst enemy, depending on whether you control it or it controls you. Many people have an inner critic that constantly points out their flaws, predicts their failures, and reminds them of their limitations. This voice says things like, "You're not smart enough, you don't have takes, you'll never succeed, everyone else is better than you." If you listen to this voice and believe what it says, it will become a self-fulfilling prophecy. But you also have the power to change this internal dialogue. You can choose to speak to yourself the way you would speak to someone you care about and want to see succeed. You can become your own best coach, your own biggest supporter, your own most encouraging friend. Start paying attention to how you talk to yourself. When you make a mistake, do you call yourself names, or do you treat it as a learning opportunity? When you face a challenge, do you focus on why you might fail or on how you might succeed? When you're working toward a goal, do you criticize your progress or celebrate your efforts? Your relationship with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship in your life. If you don't believe in yourself, why should anyone else? If you don't treat yourself with respect, why should others? If you don't encourage yourself, you'll be overly dependent on encouragement from others. Controlling your self-talk is like upgrading the software that runs your mind. Instead of running on fear, doubt, and criticism, you can choose to run on confidence, optimism, and encouragement. This doesn't mean being unrealistic or ignoring problems. It means approaching challenges with a mindset that empowers rather than defeats you. Now, let me address something that's absolutely critical to self-control, the ability to delay gratification. In our instant gratification society, this has become increasingly difficult and increasingly important. The ability to sacrifice immediate pleasure for long-term gain is one of the strongest predictors of success in every area of life. Most people want everything now. They want to be wealthy without saving and investing. They want to be fit without exercising consistently. They want to be knowledgeable without studying regularly. They want strong relationships without investing time and effort. They want success without paying the price that this requires. The marshmallow test from Stanford University proved this point beautifully. Children who could resist eating one marshmallow in order to get 2 marshmallows later scored higher on standardized tests, had better academic performance, and were more successful in various areas of life decades later. The ability to delay gratification at age 4 predicted success at age 40. Every day you face marshmallow tests. Do you watch television or read a book? Do you spend money or save it? Do you eat fast food or prepare a healthy meal? Do you stay in bed or get up early to exercise? Do you avoid difficult conversations or address them directly? Each choice is an opportunity to practice delayed gratification. The key to developing this skill is remembering that everything has a price, and you can either pay the price of discipline or pay the price of regret. The price of discipline weighs ounces, but the price of regret weighs tons. When you're tempted to choose immediate gratification over long-term benefit, remind yourself of the compound effect of your choices. Small, consistent actions taken over time create extraordinary results. One day of healthy eating won't make you fit, but 365 days of healthy eating will transform your health. One day of reading won't make you knowledgeable, but 365 days of reading will expand your mind dramatically. One day of saving money won't make you wealthy, but years of consistent saving and investing will create financial independence. Let me talk to you about controlling your energy, because energy management is often more important than time management. You can have all the time in the world, but if you don't have the energy to use it productively, it won't matter. Successful people understand that their energy is their most valuable resource, and they guard it carefully. Most people leak energy in dozens of ways throughout the day. They worry about things they can't control. They engage in negative conversations. They multitask ineffectively. They surround themselves with energy drains rather than energy gains. They neglect their physical, mental, and emotional needs. By the end of the day, they're exhausted and have little left to give to what matters most. Energy control means being intentional about what energizes you and what drains you, then making choices that protect and restore your energy. This might mean saying no to certain activities, limiting time with certain people, or changing certain habits that deplete your resources. Physical energy comes from proper nutrition, regular exercise, and adequate rest. Mental energy comes from focusing on important tasks, avoiding information overload, and taking regular breaks. Emotional energy comes from positive relationships, meaningful work, and alignment with your values. Spiritual energy comes from connecting with your purpose, practicing gratitude, and contributing to something bigger than yourself. Pay attention to your energy patterns throughout the day. When are you most alert and focused? When do you feel most creative and productive? When do you start to fade or feel overwhelmed? Use this information to schedule your most important tasks during your peak energy times and your routine tasks during your lower energy periods. Remember, you can't manage what you don't measure. Start tracking your energy levels along with your activities to identify patterns and opportunities for improvement. You might discover that certain foods make you sluggish, certain activities energize you, or certain people either lift you up or bring you down. Self-control also requires controlling your response to stress and pressure. Stress is inevitable in life, but how you handle stress is a choice. Some people are overwhelmed by stress while others are energized by it. Some people are paralyzed by pressure while others perform better under pressure. The difference is not in the circumstances they face, but in how they choose to respond. Stress and pressure can either be stepping stones or stumbling blocks, depending on your perspective and response. When you view challenges as opportunities to grow stronger, smarter, and more resilient, they become valuable experiences rather than obstacles to overcome. Here's what I've learned about handling stress. The goal is not to eliminate all stress from your life. That's neither possible nor desirable. Some stress is actually beneficial because it motivates you to take action and helps you perform at higher levels. The goal is to manage stress effectively so it serves you rather than overwhelming you. Develop healthy ways to process and release stress. This might include exercise, meditation, deep breathing, journaling, talking with trusted friends, or engaging in hobbies you enjoy. The key is having multiple strategies so you can choose the most appropriate one for each situation. Also, remember that stress is often caused by focusing on things you can't control while neglecting things you can control. When you feel stressed, ask yourself, what can I actually influence in this situation? Focus your energy on those things and let go of the rest. One of the most powerful aspects of self-control is learning to control your standards, not lowering them, but raising them strategically. Your standards determine your results because you will rarely achieve more than you demand of yourself. If you have low standards, you'll get low results. If you have high standards, you'll get high results. Most people's standards are too low. They accept mediocrity in themselves and others. They tolerate poor performance, sloppy work, and half-hearted efforts. They settle for good enough instead of striving for excellence. Then they wonder why their lives don't improve. Successful people have high standards for themselves in everything they do. They're not willing to accept less than their best effort. They continuously raise the bar on their performance, their relationships, their contribution, and their results. They understand that if you don't demand more of yourself, life won't offer you more. But here's the key. Raise your standards gradually and systematically. Don't try to go from average to excellent overnight. That's a recipe for frustration and failure. Instead, continuously improve your standards over time. What you accept today should be better than what you accepted last year, and what you'll accept next year should be better than what you accept today. Your standards apply not only to your performance, but also to how others treat you, the quality of your relationships, the work you accept, and the opportunities you pursue. When you raise your standards, you automatically begin to attract better circumstances and opportunities into your life. Let me address something that's crucial to long-term self-control, the importance of having compelling reasons for change. Willpower alone is not enough to sustain long-term behavior change. You need emotional reasons that are stronger than your desire to stay comfortable and avoid difficulty. Most people fail to maintain self-control because their reasons for change are not compelling enough. They want to lose weight because they should, not because they have powerful emotional reasons. They want to save money because it's practical, not because they have a vision that excites them. They want to develop new skills because it would be nice, not because it's essential to their dreams. To develop lasting self-control, you must connect your discipline to your deepest values, strongest desires, and most important goals. You must have reasons that are so compelling they pull you through difficult times rather than having to push yourself through them. Take time to clarify why self-control matters to you. How will your life improve if you develop better self-discipline? How will it affect your relationships, your career, your health, your happiness? What will you be able to achieve that you can't achieve now? What kind of person will you become? What legacy will you leave? Write down your reasons and review them regularly, especially when you're tempted to give up or take the easy way out. Your reasons are the fuel that will power your discipline when motivation is low and obstacles are high. As I bring this message to a close, let me remind you of something fundamental. Self-control is not about perfection, it's about progress. You don't have to be perfect to be successful, but you do have to be consistent. You don't have to get everything right, but you do have to keep trying to get things right. Every day is a new opportunity to practice self-control. Every moment is a chance to choose discipline over impulse, long-term thinking over short-term gratification, growth over comfort. The goal is not to never make mistakes, but to make fewer mistakes than you made before.